How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be going through our still early, but not that early, lineup predictions. We're still in August. We're about halfway through. I'll hopefully get one more of these done where it's actually like me setting the opening night rosters as to what I thought were training camp and preseason. So we will have to wait a while for the next one of these. Limited content when it comes to the Monday stuff with how there hasn't been too much to do at the Vancouver Canucks in their offseason this far, so back to another lineup predictions, back to doing it yet again. This time I'm using Puckpedia. It's going to be a little easier, a little more legible, easier to read, but let's hop right into it as we have the first player. I have them in order, all on the press box of who I want, and here's the players that aren't in it. So McCurchin, Bloom, Ulrichsen, Stillman, Klimovich, Mueller, Lebate, Coots, Ravinskis, Brisebois, Kudratsev, Wu, Schultz, Wu, Manio. Oh, Mancini. I didn't even put Mancini up here. We'll put Mancini there. I don't know why Mancini was down there, actually. Tolopilo, Patera, all the goaltenders, I don't think. And then there's some RFAs. Not going to sign them. Just thought, you know what? Gonna leave all these guys. I don't see any of them making the opening night roster. The only young player I see could make a jump is Coots. I don't think he does. I think he goes back. But I have them in order. So let's do this. So number one center would be Elias Pettersson. He's the number one player there. It's gonna be Elias Pettersson. We all know that. Number two, I have Quinn Hughes. We all know he's gonna be there. Those are our locks at the moment. We can actually go down. There is one more lock. Thatcher Demko is going to be a lock at goalie 1, but also Kevin Lankinen is going to be a lock at goaltending 2. They're going to be about a 50-50 split. Try to keep Demko a little healthy. Kevin Lankinen played really good last year. I think that this could be the best goaltending tandem in the league if they're both healthy and they're both playing to how they can play. If Lankinen continues to impress and play good, yeah, definitely. He'll be the best backup goalie in the league. If Thatcher Demko plays like Thatcher Demko can, best goalie in the league. One of them. I think Connor Hellebuyck still beats him, but he's definitely one of the best goaltenders in the league. Alright, so now, for forwards, number 3, but technically number 5, we have Filip Hronek. We know he's going to play on that right side with Quinn Hughes. This is pretty much set. Our defense is pretty easy to figure out. Filipino, as of right now, it's obvious he's going to play that 2C spot. There's no one else who can play it unless we go trade for somebody or we sign Roslovic and maybe he moves up. Filipino's going to be that number 2 center. Is he going to adjust to that role? I don't know. Do I hope he does? Do I think he's capable of? Yes. Am I worried about just that one hit, no matter how dangerous that hit is, hurting him a little too much? I am a little worried about that. Yeah. So, but Filipino will slot in at number 2 center. The next player I have is Jake DeBrusk, and I actually think he's going to slot beside Elias Pettersson. I know a lot of people think that Boeser is going to be up there. I mean, you could still put him on the right wing side, right, with like Kane, but I think that Jake DeBrusk is going to be that left wing for Elias Pettersson. They're trying to build up that chemistry, trying to get a guy who, you know, can work with Elias Pettersson. I think Jake DeBrusk can continue to be that guy. And I think they worked really well last season in the games that Elias Pettersson did play good. So if Petey has a bounce-back season, he plays amazing. Jake DeBrusk, he could only go up from there. But I think that Jake DeBrusk could end up around what he had last season. Brock Boeser. This one's going to be a little controversial. I think Brock Boeser is a first-line right winger on the Vancouver Canucks. But I do think he's going to end up playing second-line right wing beside Filip Chytil. Why do I think this? I kind of like the chemistry that Chytil and Boeser showed last season. Little cat jumping up the thing there, but the chair. I like the chemistry that they showed last season, and I don't think that chemistry shows with Elias Pettersson too much. I definitely do think that they can play really well together, but I feel like the safe bet right now is having him down on that second line and then moving him up just to see how Petey starts the season. The next player, Marcus Pettersson. This one's another lock. He's going to be that left side second defenseman right under Quinn Hughes. There's no way he's going to pass Quinn Hughes unless Quinn Hughes gets put on IR. And then boom, Marcus Pettersson's going to be up there. But as of right now, that is what it's going to look like for our defensemen. These kind of are our locks. There's another player who goes on this right D2 who I think is a bit of a lock, but also can be outplayed by maybe a younger player and end up dropping down to this right D3 spot. You guys will know who I'm talking about once we get there. The next player is Evander Kane. Now, this, I don't think he's our first line right winger. I think he could be a second line winger. But I think that he might fit well with Pettersson. Now, it might be a little tough having two guys of this style, right? Like speed. Kane's a speed, hard-hitting guy. Jake DeBrusk, Kane has the shot. That's why I think we could put him there instead of Boeser, and it still might work. Having Kane up there instead of Pettersson, or instead of Boeser, still has that shot. We get to work on chemistry with Pettersson to see if anything grows, and then you can switch it. It's a very easy switch. These guys both belong in the top 6, will play in the top 6, but Evander Kane on the first line. This first line does look weak, and I know it looks like that first line that Pettersson's always had that just isn't strong enough, but I think that Evander Kane would work really well up there with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk. I think this line could work if Pettersson bounced back, and then that gives the second line a bigger boost because you have a star player like Brock Boeser with Philip Hedl and Connor Garland. So we got Connor Garland, who will play that tough game, getting into the corners, getting the puck out of the corners, moving the puck around, and Philip Hedl, who can do the exact same thing, but Connor Garland does it to such a great extent. It could also leave Philip Hedl playing, a little more up, a little bit more of a helper kind of player instead of the guy who actually goes in there. And then you can find Brock Boeser for the shot. One of those guys is going to go to the net. We know that. Connor Garland probably will be the guy, and Brock Boeser shoots the puck. One of the best shots in the game. So that is our top 6. Our top 6 is rounded out really, really good now. Now, let's just move someone up here so we can round out the top 2 lines of everything. The goaltending, obviously, there's no third. Tyler Myers is that guy who I think slots in with Marcus Pettersson there. I think that you got Quinn Hughes, Hronek, Marcus Pettersson, Tyler Myers. Obviously, he could go down depending on training camp goes, but I do think they're going to consistently play him in this role here, and I think this is going to be the top 6. I think this is going to be the top 4 defensemen, and I think this is going to be the goaltending tandem. This could be pretty set. Obviously, I think there's some changes that you could make. You could even switch these two. You could switch these two. You can even move him down and move Hoglander like up here or anything, but I think that this is the way it will look at the time or at this moment with DeBrusk, Garland, Pettersson, Hedl, Kane, and Boeser. And then the defensemen, these are locks. This is a lock, and maybe it's a Mancini, maybe it's a DPD. We don't know. I think it's going to be Tyler Myers. I don't think those guys are ready quite yet to jump into that right D2 slot. Our 4th best defenseman, that would be, because it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so a player would have to jump into our 4th best defenseman. They would have to have a great year or a great training camp. The next player is Teddy Bluger, because as of right now, that's the guy who probably slots in as our as our 3rd line center. Now, you could obviously move him down to 4th line center and put someone in that maybe could make a jump into the 3rd line center role who's a little younger, and I will talk about that in a second, but Teddy Bluger, I think, is a good locked player at 3rd line center at this moment, alongside Drew O'Connor. I think that O'Connor plays here on the 3rd line. Now, I did drop him from my last one. I actually had Garland down here. I had Joshua here, and I had O'Connor up there. I just like the line chemistry a little bit more here. I like the line chemistry a little bit more here. I like this line a little bit more than I like this line. So since we traded away Joshua, O'Connor can move down to play with Bluger. Garland moves up to play with Boeser. Adds a little bit more pedigree to the second line. And Drew O'Connor is more of a bottom 6 kind of guy than he is a top 6 guy. I just like this chemistry. But I think I'd like Connor Garland up there as well. Kind of the same thing with O'Connor. We'll get into the corners. We'll play those battles. But Garland has a little bit more upside in terms of scoring. The next player, Kiefer Sherwood. Some people might be a little meh about this, where I'm putting him at this moment, but I have Kiefer Sherwood on the 4th line. Now, you can move him up to here. Obviously, you can move him up there. He can go play that line. But he got 40 points playing. I mean, he did play up here a little bit, played up here a little bit, played up there, but he can play here or here and still do what he did last season. He's that consistent of a player. I like his play. He might even earn himself an extension that is probably what we would give him now. I know the Canucks are probably waiting a little bit to see if that season was a fluke, because we've had a bit of a problem of paying players after a career year. You know, Dakota Joshua, we just traded him because our cap is a little too high. Who else would you say could be that? I don't really know. Pettersson, you could say, had a career year the year before. It was up to having a career year, paid him, and it hasn't looked good too far, but he could bounce back. He's still young. Garland's been consistent, so you can't say he has a career year. I think he did have a career year last year, if I'm not mistaken, but he's been consistently good. Consistently good enough to be paid like he got paid. I don't think there's anyone else, really, that you could say. Especially a lot of these guys are just depth guys. You could probably say Nils Hoglander as well. Next up is Aatu Räty. And, yeah, he'll go there. But I think you could switch this. You could even move him up like that. This line would be pretty wicked. But I do think at this moment it's going to be Drew O'Connor, Teddy Blueger, Aatu Räty, Kiefer Sherwood. Keep those two kind of locked at this moment, and then we'll see how it goes. This is just the opening night rosters. You can throw this out for a game, see how it works, and then make changes if you need to. All right, the next player is Linus Karlsson. This one is the one where I was thinking Linus could play up here. But I think you can only put Linus there if you put Räty. So you know what? I'm going to make some executive changes here, and it's going to be Kiefer Sherwood, Teddy Blueger, Drew O'Connor, Aatu Räty, Linus Karlsson on this fourth line. Give them the fourth line. Let them earn their way up. Because I definitely think that Räty can earn his way here. And then if these two are working really well together, you can make that switch. And then if anything, there could be another guy here like Sasson, like a Baines who can move up. But at this moment, you got to play him on the fourth line. Got to play him. Let them earn their ice time. DPD. This one's the first one where I'm going to put DPD here. Actually, I was going to say where I was going to make him a depth option at this moment, not maybe like there. I'm going to put DPD here for now. I think that's probably where he slots in on the lineup to start the season, because I think Derek Forbert with his $2 million, I know a lot of people are saying, can move him down here. I don't think we pay him $2 million to not play him. I think we play him, and if we have to move him at the deadline to free up some more cap space, we do that. But at this moment, Derek Forbert kind of, I think, is a half lock for this left defense 3 role when DPD is, can move down, Victor Mancini moves up. Depends on how it goes. P.O. Joseph, I'm actually going to put him, this D slot here. Under it, I don't think he plays the starting lineup. Neil Zoman's another one where I'm going to put him actually here. I know he can play this left wing side, probably be a more consistent left wing player. I want to put him there for now because the next player up is Arshdeep Bains. I think the chemistry between Bains and Karlsson can earn himself a playoff spot over Neil's a lineup spot in the opening lineup over a guy like Nils Åman, just because I like the chemistry they showed. You could probably put them in, see how they do, and if they're not doing too well, then you can slot a guy like Åman in there right now. But I think Bains, Karlsson, got to have them playing together. The way they played together in those playoffs was amazing. Max Sasson, he can slot here at this moment. I will do sending players down at the end, so that's where I'm just going to slot these players. Kravtsov is the same thing. You can slot him here for now. Not sure if he'll stay. Next up, Jonathan Lekkerimäki. It's the same thing where I think he has a more consistent shot of making the lineup than Kravtsov does. But if he does jump into the lineup, it would have to be something like this. So probably move Connor. So we move Kiefer down. We'll move him out for now. Put Karlsson in there. Probably Kane down there, right? And then you move Jonathan Lekkerimäki like there. He's got to play a top 6 role, right? He's not going to play anything else. But I do think that our top 6 is solid enough at this moment to where Lekkerimäki is out of the lineup and starts in the AHL for next season. Is a possibility. Do I think that he could end up earning himself a roster spot? Yes. Tom Willander, I'll put him there, and then Victor Mancini, I'll move up. I actually think Mancini has a better spot of making the opening night rosters than Willander does. The best part about these 3 defensemen, waiver exempt, so it helps. Niels Hoglander is the last guy that I'm having trouble with. So when we do some send downs, we can rework the lineup a little bit, see how it works out. I definitely think Hoglander could move into this third line. I know I'm not a big fan of Hoglander because he just hasn't found a consistent spot in the lineup, and I think that's mostly Tocchet's fault of not playing him too much. So the first player I'm going to set down is Tom Willander. He's going to go to the AHL, and same with Pierre-Olivier Joseph. He's also going to go to the AHL. I don't think he starts. I mean, here's the thing. If you know he's not going to get claimed, send him down. If you think he's going to get claimed, send Mancini down to start, and then send him down a little later. But I think it's going to be P.O. Joseph. He's going to get sent down. And that's what our decor is going to look like. I'll put Mancini in the press box, and this will be our defensive core at the moment. I'll move Mancini back in the press box, actually, after I do the forwards, because I like to do it forward, defenseman. It's just a thing I like to do. All right, first of all, Lekkerimäki. That's the first guy I'm going to send down. Pretty easy send down, because if he doesn't find a role in the top 6, then he's going to be down here. He's going to be playing high lineup, though. He might be under Klimovich, their second line in the AHL. Krasov I'm going to send down as well. I think Sasson is going to get sent down as well. He's waiver exempt at the moment. Send him down. It's easiest, just so you don't risk losing a guy like Carlson Baines or Oman. Now we have it. So I think Baines gets beat out by Hoglander. So the first person will be Archdeep Baines over there. And I don't think Niels Oman beats anybody out for a roster spot there. So Niels Hoglander snuck into the fourth line. Now, how do I see this working out? I can see this being a line. Hoglander, Ratu, Carlson, with O'Connor, Bluger, Sherwood as the fourth line. Wouldn't be too bad. Carlson would have to show a little bit of development. Ratu showed at the end of the season. If he comes in fully healthy and is playing well, definitely could be this or in that spot. Hoglander should be able to play that spot. There's no exceptions. Hoglander should be able to play that spot. But for this moment, I will do this. So O'Connor moves down to the fourth line with Atu Ratu, Linus Carlson, and then Niels Hoglander plays on the third line with Teddy Bluger and Kiefer Sherwood. Hopefully I said everything right. I feel like a little worried I said that third line twice. I think that's it. I don't think I want to make any changes at this moment. DeBrusk, Pettersson, Kane, Connor, Garland, Hedel, Boeser, Hoglander, Bluger, Sherwood, O'Connor, Ratu, Carlson. I like it. With Baines and Oman up there, yeah. Hughes, Hronik, Pettersson, Myers, Forbert, Pettersson with Mancini. Yeah, all right. This is my prediction for right now before training camp starts and before the opening night rosters get announced. Like right before, that's what I'm going to do this. If I'll try to time it to the best of my abilities, because it will be on a Monday, so it could be like 2-3 days before, but still with enough time. Hopefully we get to that kind of area where we can get it there, but this is my lineup predictions until then. Jake DeBrusk playing with Elias Pettersson and Evander Kane on the first line. Brock Boeser playing with Philip Hedel and Connor Garland on the second line. The third line being Niels Hoglander, Teddy Bluger, and Kiefer Sherwood. The fourth line being Linus Carlson, Atu Ratu, Drew O'Connor. Defensemen, Hronik, Hughes, Pettersson, Myers, Forbert, Pettersson, DPD, and then Archdeep Baines, Niels Oman, Victor Mancini as the scratches, and then the goaltending being Demko and Langdon. Now, if an injury happens, you got that, and then you can move Nikita Tolopilo up or a guy like Yuri Patera, but I don't think Demko's going to... Oh, I put him in LTIR, that's why. I don't think Demko's going to get hurt. I think it ends up being this, and you send him down. Oh, I got to put him into boom, and then boom. Okay, there we go. But yeah, that is it for this one. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys agree, disagree with any of the lineup choices. If you think Sasson or you think, who else? Krasov cracked the opening lineup. I don't think so, but your opinions could differ. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. The video up here on your right is the video from Friday. It's my first ever podcast that I started. It won't happen this week. This will be franchise mode. Not sure about next week. I will let you guys know. Next video over there is the video from Wednesday. Subscribe's right under there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.